you so much. Well, I am really excited to be here today. And, of course, wish this could be in person. I think everyone's experiencing a little bit of that. But to the things of technology, we do have this opportunity to have these remote virtual events that are, just as great, and being able to connect and network and have these amazing sessions. And Detroit Startup Week is putting on an amazing, list of programming. So I'm sure you just came from a great event. And so, as mentioned, this truly is just an open period of time that I wanted to set aside to have more in-depth conversations around, what Dell Technologies is as a company, what that means to entrepreneurs, startups, small businesses across the country from a technology solution standpoint. So if you just have some questions, especially with this climate that we're currently living within of COVID and working remote and maybe transitioning back into the four walls of your office or your place of work, I really wanted to take the time to be able to have these detailed conversations with you as a whole group or individually, and we can, really kind of build off of the different conversations that we're having. I think, any and all walks of life in different industries and different types of businesses are great to all discuss as one, just to learn from each other and learn what other companies are doing and what other walks of life of industries are doing as well from a technology standpoint. So without further ado, that is, what we're looking to achieve today. And we also have some great benefits that we're able to extend on behalf of our partnership with Startup Nation, and I'll get into that as well. But I wanted to, open it up with the topic of starting with current, what we're living in right now with COVID-19 and having to, withstand the strain on your business, transition and pivot quite rapidly and be as agile as possible, what that's doing to your business, and kind of from a technology standpoint, what pain points are you experiencing? What are you looking to start implementing or introduce into your infrastructure that you need the support from Dell Technologies? So if there's any questions, please go ahead and drop those in the Zoom comments, and I'll wait for those to come through. In the meantime, I can also kind of start just going through, what our common solutions are and what we do offer from a portfolio level.
Yeah, no questions quite yet, Megan. So maybe just start kicking that off. And then again, for attendees in the room, anybody who has questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and I'll surface it right away.
Perfect. And so just from a, solutions offerings that Dell Technologies does have within our portfolio, myself, my team with the strategic partnership team within small business, we support small businesses, entrepreneurs, and startups across the country, and that envelops 1 to 99 employees. So, you are not in the level of being too small for Dell Technologies. If you are just a solo entrepreneur or a one-person sole shop, that is, exactly the customer that we're looking to help and work with. So, 1 to 99 employees, that's what our focus is on. And from a solution standpoint, we really can cover all of your different phases and transitions as a business. We really can envelop all of those different portions. So if it comes from just the client side of house, based on your employees' needs and their roles, what types of hardware solutions are you needing to implement right away? So laptops, desktops, tablets, 2-in-1s. We have, everything from the client side of what's actually on your desktop and what's helping you and your employees work every single day to keep the business running. And then we also have, the same type of approach whenever it comes to enterprise. So if you are a growing startup or a growing small business and you are introducing additional employees in week over week or month over month, year over year, we definitely recommend having more of an enterprise conversation, and that is to discuss how can we network our entire environment so we are more efficient, secure, and productive. And so we have different hardware and software solutions that our small business advisor team can recommend to, as I mentioned, startups and small businesses across the country based on the size of your business, and the enterprise space as well. And so when you think of Dell Technologies, you may think laptops, desktops, but we really can offer so much more, as well as the current times of COVID, and whenever you're having to actually implement these different accessories into your office that are going to make your everyday life a lot easier working from home, we have solutions there as well. So this time is really to discuss through if anyone had some glaring technology questions, we can bring those to light and talk through that. I'll pause if there's been any questions that have been submitted so far.
No questions in the chat quite yet, but I'm curious just how are folks thinking about like cybersecurity? So for someone who maybe did not have employees working remotely previously, and suddenly finds their team spread out and working remotely, how are you advising folks think about cybersecurity in that context? Make sure they're safe.
Sure. That is a very hot topic, and we actually spoke on this, if anyone was attending yesterday as well, with Steve Krasnick with Huntington Technology. Cybersecurity is obviously a very hot topic right now, and with small businesses, being a bit more vulnerable in the current state, unfortunately, cyber criminals are taking advantage of that, and really focusing on small businesses across the country. And so if you are in the position where you did not have remote employees and you are starting to introduce that or transition, and especially if you're finding that it is working for your business, it is beneficial to now have the option of having employees work remote, and you're finding that your business is running just as smooth, just as efficiently. And sometimes, remote employees can work even more productively. I've actually been remote since last March, so this has been a little bit business as usual for me to an extent, of course. So I can also, go into more detail there as well. But from the cybersecurity front, that's another area of solutions that Dell Technologies can also support customers. So we went through yesterday the 7 best practices for boosting your online security. And so I'll kind of give a shortened version of that. But the first being education, which sounds so fundamental and a little like, oh, duh. But really on the educational piece, it was shocking to see 33% of businesses don't educate their employees on what to even look out for from a cyber threat. So that can be really concerning because there's so many cyber threats that are out there that are really easy to notice and see ahead of time before walking right into them and having your company data be either breached or compromised. There's a lot of different issues that can occur from there. But there's simple things like email phishing, which I'm sure everyone is very familiar with. You can actually put your small business and your startup through your employees through tests. Maybe that could be weekly, bi-weekly at random, where it could send out a faux phishing email. And if they do click the link or they kind of click that bait that's being offered to them, then you would be notified and you can submit them through a security training, a cybersecurity training. We at Dell Technologies actually do that for ourselves, and it's just a really good way to stay educated on your side and your employees and keep track of that. We also discussed, simple things like introducing antivirus into your environment and all of your endpoint devices. So now that we're remote, especially, we're finding that when you're in the office, it's a little bit easier to have these conversations with your employees of how is your system running? Are you running efficiently? Are you having issues? You can kind of see that frustration in person. And now not having that in person, opportunity, we're now seeing the lack of the actual communication of is what you're working with actually making you efficient and productive, but is also, is what you're working with up to date. And so I'm sure, many people have seen that little notification of, your cybersecurity or antivirus is expiring in 1 week or 1 month or however long it is, or it has been expired for 1 week or 1 month. And so that's really important from an endpoint device to touch base on with all of your employees to check if you don't have a local management system or software that you can actually manage all of your systems at once. If not, I would touch base with any employee that's using critical data on the daily basis to do their role from home. Check in with them if their antivirus is up to date, and if not, you would definitely recommend having that preloaded and ready to go on every single system that you have within your environment. And so education, antivirus. We also spoke on some really simple introductions of firewalls and VPNs, which is virtual private network. So these are really important. So a firewall, you can kind of think of it as a security system in your home. The antivirus that I mentioned on your endpoints, that's kind of like your actual security system within your household. And then your deadbolt on your door to really protect from outside intrusions, that can be thought of as that firewall. So that is going to be kind of an outside intrusion, protection on your environment and on your system. So that's an actual physical piece of hardware that you can introduce either at the home level or within your office. And then virtual private networks are also really, really helpful with working remote, especially with, people logging on maybe to their home Wi-Fi connections, or if they are working from maybe a family member's household, or if you are popping into those cafes that are open with their patio and social distancing to the most part, but working from there just to get maybe out and about and a little fresh air. Just be wary of what you're connecting to if you are not utilizing a VPN, because there can be a lot of fake Wi-Fi connections out there that are opening yourself up for via the casualties of cyber criminals. But a virtual private network can actually take a public network and encrypt that. So you do have that security from even working in off of a public network because of that VPN. So we kind of highlighted that yesterday, but cybersecurity, like you just brought up, is extremely important right now. And there's a lot of nuances that you can start to introduce to your business to have an overall cybersecurity strategy.
Cool. We've got a question here about hardware. So the question is, can you recommend a baseline Dell monitor that is compatible with MacBooks for working from home?
Sure. So we get this question quite a bit, and a lot of what it boils down to is just downloading the correct driver. So with a lot of our monitors out there, and I'll kind of frame it in the sense of the use case. So if you were to visit Dell.com, I know we have a ton of options, and what we break them down into is gaming, business, and consumer use. So whether you're using it at home, or if you're using it within your business, or if you're using it primarily for gaming, we have different monitors that are built with certain mechanisms and materials to work best under these different use cases. And so our business grade and truly the other monitor options as well within consumer and gaming options, as long as we are working within the correct driver. And whenever you purchase a Dell monitor, it actually will recommend what driver you need to download onto your system. And so if you were to Google, P2419H is one of our models. It's our professional series business grade 24-inch monitors. And so if you were to Google the driver for said monitor, it would recommend the driver that you need to download, and that will kind of solve that issue of having the different actual endpoint system that you're using for a MacBook. And that is to say also for docking stations as well. So if you are looking to have a laptop and multiple monitors, so you can keep up that efficiency and that productivity with multiple screens and not just working off of a 13 or 14-inch laptop, we have Dell docking stations as well. So it truly acts as a larger port replicator in a sense, just to give you the optionality of multiple USB ports, but then also monitor ports as well. So with that in mind as well, you can download the drivers for those docking stations to run our monitors off of those types of systems.
Very thorough. Thank you so much. I'm curious to know just kind of, so you mentioned, 1 to 99 employees. What does the experience look like at a high level working with Dell Technologies? You'd have an account manager and somebody's helping you get ramped up. I assume businesses are coming at you with very wide-ranging needs and everything. So how does that actually look for somebody here that's interested in potentially going down that path?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So within Dell Technologies, we do have our dedicated Dell Small Business. So our channel meant for that 1 to 99 employee set for startups and small businesses, just in case any new attendees have logged into this call. And so within that, and it's funny because I have been with Dell for just over 4 years now. I actually started my career as a small business advisor. I'm out of Austin, Texas, and that's where we're headquartered out of. And so this is a little near and dear to my heart because I started in this role, and so I can truly speak to what this process can look like for members and customers calling in. So we do have a dedicated line that is either going to reach our small business advisors in Nashville, Tennessee, or Round Rock, Texas, which is just outside of Austin. And so what this kind of the format or the process looks like is that small business advisor that you get in touch with, you can utilize that contact as your point of contact through Dell Technologies Small Business going forward. So they truly are there with a team of resources behind them to understand, the purpose of you maybe calling in or reaching out, getting in touch with them in a different form, which I'll go over as well. But they are truly there to ask the right questions of understanding, okay, what are your current needs? How many employees do you have? What type of business are you? What applications are you traditionally using every single day, day in and day out? What pain points are you hearing from your employees? And, what are your goals? What are you looking to do within this year, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years out, as far as your growth pattern? So if you are planning to grow and hire, additional employees in the coming years, that's really important for us to know on the technology side to make sure that not only are we providing you with the right solution immediately for your needs tomorrow, but you are set up for success to grow in the future. So we do have the right hardware in mind. So if you do have a rotational period of your employees for a year, 2 years before they move on to the next role, we're fitting you with the right laptop or desktop. Or if you are growing by 10 employees within the next year, you have the right server to grow into in the coming years. So our small business advisors are really there to ask all of those questions and to learn about your business. And we do have a team of resources on that, at their fingertips that they can utilize. So if we do need to have more of an enterprise conversation, servers, networking, kind of more in depth there, they have a direct resource. If you're looking for more accessories or software, so if you're maybe an AutoCAD user or a Foxit or Adobe user, we have really resources in all walks of life to kind of paint the full picture of the solution that you're needing. And so that's what they're there for. They're there to kind of act as your IT person that, isn't on your payroll. If you don't have IT on staff, if you are maybe just getting started and you're lacking in that area of not having that direct support, we truly can act as that. And so to get in touch, through our partnership with Startup Nation, we are able to extend that out to attendees for Detroit Startup Week. So you can actually visit dell.com/Startup Nation. And they have the full steps in order to get in touch with our small business advisor team to call in. And then also we have some really great exclusive promotions for members as well. So that's really kind of the idea in the process of having a direct point of contact at Dell. And we don't want it to be overwhelming and think, oh, I will never get in touch with someone. We have a whole team dedicated, ready there and waiting to assist you. Any other questions that have come through? All right. Just want to check if, has there any other questions come through that Zoom? All right, and again, as I mentioned, so that page that you can go and get in contact with those small business advisors is dell.com/Startup Nation, and that will have all the contact information. And to thoroughly speak on it from the small business advisor take, they're really there to be a support system for you. So if you do need a simple question answered as, I need a replacement mouse and keyboard, a wireless option or a new headset because I'm working from home and I want to make sure that it sounds professional as possible for my employees and my customers and my community that you're speaking to every single day over the phone. As little solutions as that, we are there to help provide, but then as a large, I need to do a full refresh. I need to take control of all of my different laptops and desktops that I have and the enterprise infrastructure that I have within my business, such as my firewall and my server and my networking switch. We can really arrange that full in-depth idea.
Got it. Thank you, Megan. And just heads up that I had gotten booted from the session due to some unforeseen internet issues here, so sorry about that.
No problem. And I just want to check, have any other questions come through?
I don't believe so, but I wasn't able to see questions while I was off here. So if anybody asked a question within the last few minutes, if you guys want to just post it again in the chat or Q&A, and I'll surface that. In the meantime, Nina's wondering about when we'll know who wins the Dell package.
Yes, so that is extremely exciting. So we are actually going to be drawing that at the end of this week. So on Friday, that will come through Detroit Startup Week. So they will be announcing that. And just to tell you, I had the opportunity to build up that package as the giveaway. And so I can really attest that it covers everything that you are needing from a work from home solution setup. So you have your XPS laptop, and then we have our docking station. So as I mentioned, if you are looking to run those multiple monitors, that's the absolute device that you need to do so. So it will have a docking station, a curved monitor, we have the wireless mouse and keyboard combo, a dedicated headset. So really truly everything to kind of capture what you're looking for from a work from home solution, that is included in that giveaway. So that will be on Friday, and just be on the lookout for that announcement coming through. Because you registered for this event, you are definitely entered to win. And so I'm so excited to see who wins, and I think they're going to be thrilled and very, very happy.
Megan, do you have a sense for amongst the companies that y'all are working with in terms of back to work planning? So kind of what is the general landscape of where folks are at, and kind of how are you advising that people approach back to work given just the remaining levels of uncertainty around kind of what comes next related to COVID?
Sure. Yeah, and it's also different across the country. I know different states have the different stages that they're at right now. So I don't want to speak too out of line to what is pertinent based on where that entrepreneur or startup or small business is located. But I will say, it's going to be most important if you're looking at it from a technology standpoint, to find a contact to get in touch with, and through Dell or what have you, and just understand what your current infrastructure is, and understand if you are experiencing pain points right now. So at whatever level you are working remote, if you do have employees, if you're working solo, and based on your state restrictions, when the plan to either be back in business is to actually go back to the office. If you already are at that stage where you're back in the office, but you did find that it was beneficial to have those work from home solutions, and really just be prepared. We hope that as we progress through this, that there are not many drawbacks, but there's always, potentially a chance for that. So I think now it's bringing to light to be prepared for this new kind of age of a workforce, which is that remote workforce. We've seen some companies adopt it, and it can be very successful. Dell has had remote employees for quite some time, and like I mentioned, I have been remote since last March. And so, the fear behind working remote and being unproductive, or the product either not being what you're wanting to deliver, and it all depends on based on your industry if working remote does make sense for you and your business. But it's just really important to understand what your current infrastructure is and how you can support the next step to either working remote or transitioning back into the office. And from understanding your current infrastructure, what you currently have, and what your current pain points are, that will paint a really clear picture of what the next steps needs to be. Either from a hardware solution or a software solution. Some of these pain points can easily be solved by introducing a new software or a new application into the mix, and then some can be utilized by actually introducing new hardware options. So it can really be dependent on the state that you're within and the industry of business that you're in as well. But again, with our conversations that we can have very detailed with these small business advisors, we can pinpoint that exactly based on your business specifically to get that proper solution and that proper kind of time frame and recommendation of transitioning back into the office and what that looks like.
That makes sense. We've got a question from Chris here asking, is the Dell Canvas still available or is it being discontinued?
The Dell Canvas is still available, and to kind of go into the Canvas a little bit, we traveled quite a bit to different conferences and different events, and we are definitely missing those times right now. And I had the opportunity for a couple of different events that we traveled to work with the Canvas directly. And I will say, if you're not familiar with the Dell Canvas, it is an interactive, full 10-point touch external monitor, and it's really geared towards the creatives. So if you are in any sort of design industry or a role, if you are a graphic designer, if you are a photographer, a videographer, anything that you're working with creative content that you're editing, even music mixing. We've seen it if you are utilizing different applications like Pro Tools and different things that are out there. If you're music mixing or video editing with any sort of overlay of sound or audio, this piece of equipment is really perfect for you and up your alley, and we do still sell this. And so if you have a direct interest for the Dell Canvas, please reach out to me directly. I'm happy to help out. My email is Megan_Wright@Dell.com, and I'll spell that out in just a bit. But with the Dell Canvas, like I mentioned, you have this 10-point touch. It has a lot of different accessories that can be specifically kind of designed for what application you're using. And so it has a totem wheel. So if you're using it for either editing or animation or drawing of some sort, you can actually use the totem wheel as an accessory to customize the colors that you're choosing your stylus to pick up and use whenever you're drawing your free flow. So it's a really amazing interactive external monitor. And what's great about it is, like I just mentioned, it is an external monitor. So you can use it off of your current system that you have, your current device. So if you're working off of a laptop or a desktop and you're maybe using other interactive creative tablets and you're looking for something to switch that up and change into, the Dell Canvas would be a really great solution to look at. And it's an actual 27-inch monitor, external monitor, and it has a kickstand and an articulating stand. So if you're looking to be more structured on your desk, or if you do need the different angles to really get your different pinpoints for your animation or for your drawing or whatever type of work you're using, the Dell Canvas is an amazing, amazing piece of equipment. That's a great question.
Very cool. And Megan, will you, you said Megan_Wright@Dell.com. Did I get that right? Perfect.
That's correct. Yep. So that's MEGAN_WRIGHT@Dell.com.
Very cool. Very cool. And with the distributed Dell program that you're describing, would folks be? You mentioned that you're headquartered in Texas. Are folks working with a local rep, or how does that piece of it work?
That's correct. So if you are calling into our, based on that link that I mentioned earlier, so Dell.com/Startup Nation, that will have the number to reach our small business advisor team. And so those small business advisors are either going to be based in Round Rock, Texas, so just outside of Austin, or out of Nashville, Tennessee. So you will be working with a local rep in either of those two cities.
Gotcha. And Chris followed up about the about his previous question about the Dell Canvas, saying that the website says it's no longer available and they ask for the replacement, hence the confusion. So it sounds like this might be just a good candidate to email you directly.
Yes, correct. Yep. If you don't mind sending a direct email to me, I will clear that up for you.
Sounds good. Cool.
And just to also give an idea, so we have the Dell Canvas, which is amazing for creatives. And so whenever you look at the different families of systems that we offer, I'd love to kind of shed some light on this as well, because I know when looking at the website, there can be quite a few different options, and it can be a little bit intimidating or overwhelming to know exactly which system or family is the best for you. So we can go in depth on that as well, either through talking with a small business advisor, and I'll give a highlight right now as well. So within our creative space, you know, the Dell Canvas is a great accessory in a sense, but we have our Dell XPS laptops and desktops, and then we also have our precision workstations. And so the XPS is absolutely designed with the creative in mind, just based on the actual materials that it's being built with and the streamlined design. It's fit to edge technology for the actual screen. We have touchscreen options, 2-in-1s, where you can actually fold that laptop all the way over. And so if you are using your laptop as your tablet, in a sense, as your creative tablet to do your animations, to do your photo editing, anything of that nature, these XPS laptops are actually a really great tool for that as well, with the 2-in-1 aspect and having touchscreen. We have accessories to go along with those, such as stylus. So if you wanted to have more of a pin, accessory to go along with your laptop for those editing features, the XPS have that optionality. And so those are really what we would recommend for our creatives. And then if you are more in the industry of architecture or using any CAD applications, then we would recommend looking into those precision workstations. Those are our workhorse workstations that can really be scaled and configured extremely high to be able to bounce back from all the different applications and multitasking use that those heavy applications are using. And then also we have our Latitude line, which is really fit for those business customers. So if you are either working in law or accounting, if you're working that system 8-10 hours a day and really pushing it and doing the office use and basic office work use, then our Latitude line is going to be perfect for you. I actually work off of a Latitude and have my 4 years being with Dell Technologies, and the Latitude is really perfect for that, just having the correct fans and being configured to be able to work 8 to 10 hours a day and multitask well, but handle those basic office applications. And then if you are more in the business for something that is a little bit of a hybrid of using it at home, but then also needing it for business use, kind of split time throughout your day, we do have our Inspiron and Vostro line, which are really meant for kind of that 4 to 6 hour use case time, and are perfect for those small business customers. So we have so many options out there and so many different families of systems, and we'd love to, find the best fit for you and your business.
Yeah. So Megan, recognizing you've named so many cool technologies, just kind of keeping on the theme of cutting edge tech. Curious if there's any other products or hardware or software that you're particularly excited about right now in the Dell line.
Sure. So I would say, something that's always exciting is, well, like I mentioned, XPS is something that I find really intriguing and exciting, just based on the design and the kind of the goal of that system to be extremely upgraded and have all of the different features that based on the creatives are looking for. But we also have, a really immense gaming portfolio out there. So our Alienware systems are really cutting edge. So if you are either within a gaming industry, so if you are actually building and coding games or working within that kind of creative space, we have some really amazing Alienware products. And then also going into virtual reality, and augmented reality. We have some amazing products in that field as well. So I'd say, what I'm excited about, our XPS line is amazing, and I hope everyone can, get the chance to go take a look at those. We just came out with our new 13 and 15-inch XPS. But then also on the gaming side, that being such a relevant industry right now, especially because I feel a lot of families out there are seeing the need or the use case for gaming right now of making sure that have your kids be taken care of and entertained, and then you yourself. I know there's a lot of really great adult games out there as well, and then we also look into virtual reality and augmented reality as kind of the future, looking into that even for a business use case. So it's great on the entertainment side, but then also looking at AR and VR more on the business side, where you can train your employees using virtual reality or augmented reality, and being, in different states or countries, maybe, depending on what your situation is, and being able to be in the same room together and actually be able to see someone's eye movement shifting based on your virtual avatar. There's just amazing technology out there to support that realm as well.
Great. That's a lot of really cool stuff. Playing off of that, Chris has another great question here. So what external hardware would you recommend for rendering heavy After Effects or 3D animation? He specifies external GPU, CPU, etc.
I will be honest, because I don't want to speak above my understanding. So if Chris doesn't mind reaching out to me directly, we have, like I mentioned, a resource, a team of resources that would be able to kind of get into the specifics. So just to recap his question, he's looking for a recommendation for the actual hardware to assist in rendering those larger application files. Is that correct?
I believe so. Chris, is that right? If you want to pop in the chat, if that's correct. Yep, that's what he or she is looking for.
Okay, perfect. Yep, I definitely want to also get you in touch with a actual, kind of subject matter expert in that area, so that we're not leading you in the wrong direction in what application, or excuse me, what hardware we have to offer for that.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Chris, for all the questions. I appreciate those questions there. Those have been great.
And I said sounds good at the same exact time that Chris said sounds good. So we're on the same wavelength.
Same page there.
Great. Anybody else with any questions here? I'm getting all my questions answered, so I'm feeling very very satisfied. But curious if anybody else has any questions for Megan.
Well, in the meantime, I'll also talk about some other benefits that we offer to Startup Nation members, but then, being in attendance with Detroit Startup Week, we're able to extend that out. I know I've mentioned, getting you in touch with them.
Will you also elaborate on can you share a bit about Startup Nation as well? Just so everyone, if someone's not familiar with Startup Nation, will you include that in your answer there?
Oh, sure, absolutely. So Startup Nation, they are based out of Detroit, and they are a really amazing entrepreneur and startup-focused community of, within the Detroit space, and then outer Detroit area entrepreneurs and startups. They have an amazing website, startupnation.com, and some really great programming that discusses, the different recommendations and best practices and advice for those who are either looking to create a startup or has been a budding entrepreneur and looking for that next startup or that next business that you're looking to create. They have subject matter experts and a full team of dedicated advisors there that are looking to create programming and creative content for those entrepreneurs and startups. So I definitely highly recommend, if you haven't visited startupnation.com, definitely go take a look at the content that they're creating for entrepreneurs and startups. They have podcasts, radio shows, some really amazing blogs that they're posting. And Dell has been a partner with Startup Nation for some time now. And we found that it's just a really amazing community of entrepreneurs and startups that are like-minded, that are looking to continue to push the envelope. And now more than ever, I've heard some amazing interviews that they've had with their radio show and podcast. It's the conversation around, what now, with everything that's going on with the current climate, with COVID-19, what's that next step? How can entrepreneurs and startups continue to push through and push the envelope like they have been for so long? So I definitely, recommend everyone going to take a look at that. And so, like I mentioned, we've been partners with Startup Nation for some time now. And so within that partnership, we offer some really great benefits. And so we have the direct points of contact for our small business advising team. And then we also have the dedicated landing page that I've mentioned a couple of times to go find that contact information. We also offer special promotions, and so you can take advantage of these right now. We have running through the 1st of July, it's 10% off for these members and for attendees of Detroit Startup Week. So if you are looking at anything Dell branded, such as a laptop or a desktop or a monitor, we do have that exclusive 10% off that we can extend out to you. And you can mention that whenever you either talk to our small business advisor team, or if you reach out to me directly, that you were an attendee at the Detroit Startup Week, and we'll be able to offer that out to you. We also have Dell Financial Services. So if you are in the position that you're looking to make the next upgrade in your office or within your business, if you need to upgrade 5 systems, five laptops, or if you are looking to replace your server or something within the enterprise grade, we do have our Dell Financial Services to kind of keep your capital in your pocket. And we have revolving lines of credit and leasing options as well. So we can discuss those options within your business if applicable. And then we also have our partner outreach program. So this is something that was a little bit newer prior to COVID. And so, unfortunately, we're not able to travel right now due to restrictions and safety measures and precautions that are out there. But whenever that travel ban has been lifted, once we are able to travel confidently and safely, we can actually go on site to a small business nationwide and do a free complimentary on-site consultation to truly understand what your current environment is, and then recommend the strategy and the plan to make those next steps within your technology infrastructure. So those are kind of our overall benefits, and it's really amazing to be able to offer that to Startup Nation members, but then also to extend that out to Detroit Startup Week attendees during this week as well.
And I'm sorry, I think you might have mentioned it, but will you repeat, how do folks take advantage of that opportunity?
Sure. So if they go to dell.com/startupnation, and that's StartUpNation.com. Or excuse me, dell.com/startupnation. Spelling out loud makes it a little bit challenging. But that's where you kind of your end all be all for a landing page to find all that information that I mentioned. So you can actually take use of those exclusive promotions through our Save Now button on that landing page. And then you can also get in touch with our small business advising team through that direct phone number listed as well.
Perfect. And I just dropped that link as well as the link directly to Startup Nation in the chat here. So guys, we're coming up on 3:45 or a little past 3:45. So session technically runs till 4. If anybody has any other questions, feel free to drop them in now while we've still got Megan with us. And in the meantime, Megan, anything else you want to touch on before we wrap up?
I would say, if those who are attending, if you wanted to maybe like drop your industry or what brought you to Detroit Startup Week as an attendee, it's always great to see the really wide span of different industries that are brought together by entrepreneur and startup focused events. We'd love to kind of understand that, and that gives us a better idea too, within these office hours, to know what industries are chiming in and tuning in, and if you are within the more creative space or within nonprofits, things of that nature, that's always really great to hear as well. So if you wanted to drop your industry in the chat, that's awesome to hear, but I really do appreciate all the attendees and the questions that have come through so far.
Waiting on replies here.
And I actually, so I'm based out of Houston, Texas. I worked in the headquarters just outside of Austin for 3 years and have been in Houston for just over a year now. And I had the opportunity to go and travel to Detroit in December and meet with the Startup Nation team, but then also meet some fellow entrepreneurs and businesses in the Detroit greater area, and actually go on these on-site consultations and get a real look in their business. And it's just amazing to see what's happening in this total resurgence of entrepreneurial spirit out in Detroit. I've heard and had conversations with someone today recently that, Detroit and Austin kind of favor each other in the workforce, and kind of the work habits are really similar, just extremely hardworking, extremely driven, and a really strong backing and resurgence of entrepreneurs and startups. So it's just amazing to see. And, from Dell Technologies, we're here to support and help continue that growth from a technology standpoint.
Great. And we're bummed that you can't be here joining us for normally Startup Week in Detroit is a really grandiose showing of folks coming together and everything, but we're instead doing a grandiose showing online. So I suppose it makes it easier for you to join us, though.
Yeah, it's been great, but I definitely, working with Startup Nation and then hopefully meeting some entrepreneurs through Detroit Startup Week, I'm excited to hopefully come back once we can travel again. It's a great city.
Yeah, and so Chris here mentioned they're a creative director. And I can speak for myself. Yep, sorry about that. Chris is a creative director.
Creative director, okay. Fantastic.
I myself am a community director, running a little program, bringing together software engineers, building community amongst software engineers in Detroit. Yeah. We're thinking about all this stuff. So this session was very informative for me. All right. Well, it looks like we might be all set on questions here, guys. So again, if anybody else has any last minute burning questions, please do let us know. But while we're waiting on that, I will say thank you everybody for joining. Thank you so much to Megan for sharing all this incredible information. Your knowledge base is wide ranging, and it sounds like so many exciting opportunities through Dell and through the partnership with Startup Nation. So thank you so much.